And it's already being recorded. Awesome. Oh gosh, I'm a party of one in here. Okay, all good though. All good. All right, awesome. I think so. I think now that I've logged in and started it, it's letting people in. We've got someone. Okay, great. Thank you. Bye. Sorry guys, it had trouble logging in, but I think we're all set now. Looks like we've got people coming in. Hello.
Hi, friend.
Hello, hello. My hair's a little crazy, but you know what? It's the season.
I did a braid today. It's on my way.
You did a braid? I didn't catch it.
Oh, here. Can you see it?
Cute. Oh, yours looks nice when you braid your own hair.
Thanks. You know what? Just gets it out of the way. I know we all can feel like that, right? Okay.
Miriam, so you're new to, I knew you were new, but you're on Romalik's team, right?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, welcome. How long have you been on his team? Like, you're brand new, right?
Yeah, this is my first full week.
Oh, awesome. Congrats. Has it been a good week?
Yeah, it has. I've been feeling like, there's a lot of information, but I'm trying to just like roll with the punches, and so nice and like helpful. So
Good, yes.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Yeah, you can't go wrong just attending like all the trainings that are offered. There's so many systems to learn.
Exactly.
Okay, now this class is being recorded, and we afterwards we'll be posting this for people who like want to revisit this information again later on. It's going to go on the YouTube page and also on our website, just for everyone to know. We'll probably start like in another minute or two. I want people to join. Any last minute people? Oh, Allie's here. Hi, Allie. So what we're going to be going over today are the two ways. So if anyone has their email and can pull this up as well, you can do it along with me, or you can just watch. I'm going to go over the both ways so we can fill out the commission statements. And once I go through it, you guys are going to realize how simple it is. It's pretty cut and dry and straightforward. These are just like empty boxes that we are plugging in information. And the Excel has the formulas, so that you're just putting in the numbers and it's doing all the math for you. And in one, you have to do some math. So play to your strengths. You know what you're good at. And then you can just use whichever version you like. Both are perfectly valid. Let me pull up, and we can go ahead and start as soon as I can get it open. Okay, can everyone see this commission statement? Cool. I'm going to minimize our faces. All right, so we'll go over the Word doc one, the Word document first. And for those who don't have Microsoft Suite, then please know that this is actually going to be uploaded as well, and just a little later today because I have to template it. This is going to be added to DocuSign as well as like a templated box that you can just fill in the numbers as a fillable PDF. So if you don't have Microsoft Suite, but you do use DocuSign, it's going to be available there too. Because I realize like maybe not all Mac users actually use Microsoft, but just know it's available in multiple formats, so whatever works best. And if neither of those formats work for you, please reach out and we can put something together. So first things first, essentially, rules of the road, you'll probably want to complete this commission statement 5 days in advance because you're going to be uploading this to the opportunity and submitting it for review. so that the compliance team and I can review it, let you know, and that gives us actually ample time to get to it, but to also find any errors that are missing. Because like, let's say you say we're holding like $10,000, but I see in the opportunity only a receipt for maybe $1,000. That's my cue to reach out to you based on the information you wrote here. That's my cue to reach out to you and say like, hey, where's this other $9,000? I don't see a receipt for it yet. So that kind of gives me a clue, like compliance-wise, if any documents are missing. So that's why it falls to us to do the commission statement, not to be confused with the commission's tab that's on the opportunities. So whereas the commission statement kind of lives in the compliance department, the commission's tab is purely internal commissions information for our accounting department. Whereas this commission statement actually goes out to your seller attorney and your buyer. All make sense so far? Everyone good? Good. So essentially, you'll want to fill this out once you have a closing date. Now, I know in some cases the clear to close doesn't come in till like a day or two before. For those who saw my email, and if you're here, you probably saw my email. I mentioned that like you can always email it to me, because if you upload it to the opportunity and like let's say you forget to hit submit and you're actually going to close tomorrow and this hasn't been reviewed yet, turns out like one or two, we didn't get a chance to see it, or you actually didn't hit submit and it never appeared in my queue to actually review it. So that's why the submit to MC button is going to be key for all of your documents. It gives us time to let you know of any errors in your documentation and paperwork. So ideally 5 days. If it's less than 5 days, just email me. And I can't reach the chat while I'm sharing my screen, but Tanae, could you in the chat box write in the compliance@kw1chicago.com email just so everyone has that? So in case you can't do it within the 5 days or you just really want me to review it now, shoot me an email at compliance@kw1chicago.com and we'll review it sooner rather than later. Now, in case these are brand new informations, I will say, so commission statements, in case you don't know, are always done, is always on the listing brokerage to create, or the listing side of the deal. So whenever you represent the seller, you will be creating a commission statement. That's not a KW1 or KW1 Chicago thing. That's actually just in real estate. That's just the way it goes across all brokerages. So know that if you or if you're an admin, you or your agent represent the seller, we will be creating a commission statement. The only exception, if you represent a buyer, if it's a FSBO deal, if it's a forced sale by owner, because really, if a seller is selling their own house and they don't have an agent representing them, then they would have no idea to create a commission statement. So that's why it's on us or on our brokerage, our agent to create it. It's the one exception. Now, we can go ahead and we'll go ahead and create just like a fake one. You're filling in basic details and we'll just write it in. Just some basic details. At this point, get as detailed as you want. I think it looks more professional personally to write in the state and zip code as well. That's not a zip code. Because this is what the title company is going to be using to create the settlement statement. So once the deal is closing, that document, and it's also known as a HUD and as an ALTA, that even closing statement, that settlement statement is this is what the title company is going to use to put that statement together, which is a full breakdown of all the numbers, all the money that gets moved around as a credit or a debit between the buyer and seller. So that's why I like to be as detailed as possible on this, because I know somebody else is going to be looking at it and probably checking this for details. We'll say, and just in case there are two people. Now purchase price, something random. Again, fill it out I like to include like the numbers just to make things look extra professional and nice. Closing cost credits. Does everyone know where to find this on a contract? Does anyone want me to pull it up?
I wouldn't mind that.
Yep, okay, no problem. So on a, let's see if we're entering right now. So on a contract, the way you can find, you're pulling the, and of course, if there are any addendums, you're always going on the commission statement, always the most up-to-date sales price that was decided. Usually the sales price doesn't get negotiated that frequently after the deal has closed. So usually it's what's on the contract that is the final sales price. And here we go, it's 300,000. So that's what we would write in the sales price. And if there's any credit, this is an interesting, this is an interesting contract because this is vacant land and sale contract. So this is not common, a residential. This is very particular contract for vacant land. So I don't see a place for credit on here, actually. This is a bad example to pull it up the first time. Let's go to a different one. Ballard, Tanae, do you want to offer up an opportunity? One that I could pull up right now?
I just put one in 91.
Can't hear you tonight.
Can you hear me now?
Better.
5337 North Nashville.
Thank you. Gotta move our faces around. Okay, so on the contract, whether this is where you'll grab, unless there's an addendum, this is where you'll grab the purchase price from. And usually right next to there, there's a box for closing cost credits.
We can only see the commission statement.
Oh, come on. It's doing the thing again. All right. Share screen again. Okay, now can you see the contract? Okay, so all that vacant land talk, you guys had no idea what I was seeing. Okay, so purchase price usually and almost always preceded then by or followed by the closing cost credits. This is optional and it's not always in the original contract. This is sometimes actually decided in an attorney review letter or contract addendum. Buyers and sellers agree to a credit like, oh, well, you're taking, like, I'm going to have to replace the chandelier or whatever, and I want $500, or it can be a credit for essentially whatever, maybe it's like for taxes. But that's the credit. So that's what would get added because that credit is technically then subtracted from the sales price total. So there's that. I have to reshare my screen again so you guys can see. Back to the settlement statement. So we'll say that there was a credit of maybe like $1,000. There aren't always credits, maybe about half the time or less there actually are. And the total commission is the commission that is agreed in the listing agreement. This is often anywhere between like 4.5% to 6% or so. So in this case, we'll say it's 5%. Actually, we'll say it's 6%. And then in here, you are writing what is 6% of the 500,000 sales price minus the $1,000 credit. And now I'm actually going to pull up my calculator and do the math. If anyone beats me to it, feel free to let me know. Okay, so the commission total is going to be $2,940. So we write it in both boxes to be as explicit as possible for the title company.
Hey, Amanda, Quinn had a question.
Yes.
She said it's only credits that are in the original contract, correct? Not credits that were decided in AI.
That was what our policy was when we were in Lincoln Park, but I have since spoken with Kara and she's okay, just whatever credits are decided, whether in the original contract or yes, brand new information. So whether in the original contract or decided during attorney review, we are allowing it on here because most title companies actually prefer to see the credit rather than just refer to, or see the credit in the commission statement, have the commission statement reflect the most of the monetary figures than just actually look at the addendums. Go ahead, Bill.
Amanda, wait a minute. So you're saying that our closing cost credits from now on, regardless of when the timing is, are going to be subtracted from the purchase price?
Mhm.
That's changed.
Was that a car change? Because that would be a pretty big change. If
It's a
that-
Yeah,
huge change.
I haven't
I
heard
thought that
about
was an
that.
MLS rule.
It wasn't, that's an MLS, technically an MLS definition of what net sales price is. And then like, unless this is gross, which few deals are actually tend to be gross, it's net. Kara gave the go ahead to include all decided closing cost credits on the commission statement, because we were having title companies reach back out to us and having us revise them anyway to include it. So while we were following the MLS MRED can't fine us for this, and this is what the title companies have reached back out to us saying that they prefer to see. So Kara is giving the go ahead.
So is there going to be like an email or something to alert everybody? Because
That's
that's
fair.
gonna,
It's still, either way, title companies getting this information. Yeah, I can speak to Kara about sending out an email to everyone, but whether you decide to do it on, I mean, if it's on the original contract, it's got to go in there regardless, right? But if it's decided during attorney review or in a contract addendum, the title company is still going to see it. We're just allowing it to be included on here anyway, because we were getting enough kickback that from the title companies that it seems simpler to just actually add it. But technically, we should still always be seeing this, and if it's not in the original contract, in the contract addendum at least, or in the attorney review letter.
Amanda,
make
can I just
sense?
ask one more question on this?
Yep,
Because this is like totally, I didn't realize this. So
it was
just to
not
make
our
sure,
process for a really long
I know
time.
that
You are right.
I know, I get what you're saying, that they want to see it, but I guess the question I want to make sure I understand is, what are we calculating the commission off of? Because my understanding is that, and it has nothing to do with what our office thinks. It's what the law is. And it is that if there's like an inspection credit, let's say, and they put a credit of 5,000, our commission is not based, it has no basis on that 5,000. It's still on that original price of what the commission is. So I know that they want to see it here, but what are we actually calculating the commission on?
We are including the closing credits. So the closing credits, the commission would include the closing credits deduction. That's what I was told. But to put people more peace of mind, I can have Kara reach out and send an email to everyone. I think that's fair, considering especially in Lincoln Park that this was our process for so long. I'll speak to her and we can get that sent out for clarification for everyone. Sound good?
Sounds good.
just a little surprise, that's all.
Okay, let's move on. So then your commission. So in this box, you're writing down what your commission is. So let's say in the MLS listing, you agreed to pay the co-broker 2.5%, then the remainder of that 6% would be 3.5%. So you'd write it in that box. And then whatever 3.5% of that is, let me calculate it. Shoot, guys, keep having typos. 1 second. Sorry, is someone else getting this faster? I am very slow at this. Math is not my strong suit at all, guys.
I'll help.
I don't like the number I'm getting. I'm getting this wrong.
So the 3.5 commission is 17,465.
Or 65. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, the plus fee is usually if there's like an MLS fee. So that MLS fee, like let's say you're paying your co-broker 2.5 minus 395. We'll go ahead and just pre-fill it in down here. Not there, sorry. Then that's technically what you're minusing from the co-broker. That gets added to your plus box. Because what you're subtracting from them is technically being added to you. That's the MLS fee that you're charging. So that's coming back to you. Now, minus fee, this is a place for any like rebates that you decide or any extra agreements that you come to, like with your seller. Like let's say you came to an agreement that it'll be 6%, but in the end, later on down the line, you've decided to give them like rebate them $1,000 for whatever reason. Then that'll be minus 1,000. So let's go ahead and calculate that information so that your total commission is
16,860.
860. Okay. Now for this example, we'll pretend that we're holding earnest money in the amount of, let's say like 10,000. Then that means that of this, we're holding $10,000. Then whatever that remainder is, we're going to retain so that the accounting department can pay you. But that leaves still $6,860 that the title company needs to send to us so that we can pay you the rest of that. Val, can you calculate, please, the 2.5% commission? Thank you.
Sure. 12,475.
12,475. All right. Oh, and don't forget, for whatever reason, I tend to come across like this yellow box gets ignored a lot, and I can see I almost did it myself. In this box, we'll be writing down the co-broker name and the brokerage. Say Danae Wood, sorry, because I'm looking right at you today. We'll say Baird & Warner, sorry, just as an example. And what is that? What would be that total, please?
12,080.
Great. Now, excess earnest money to be wired to title. If this were a negative number, meaning that we were holding more escrow than we were total commission that you needed to get paid, then that would be represented as a negative number here and reiterated down here. For the sake of that, let's just go ahead and pretend we're in that situation. Otherwise, you can write no in this box if there's no money that we're holding that needs to be wired to escrow. But let's say we're actually holding 20,000, then that's going to be as a negative number down here because we're holding too much. And that is a difference of so that we will just make things as simple as possible for the title company. We're going to repeat that number down here to 3,140 so that they know the title company, when they sees this, they're expecting that 3,140, in which case we have to fill in the title company and file number. If we're holding excess earnest money, then it makes sense that our accounting department needs to know who that earnest money is going to. And the file number, there's always a file number connected to each closing. So we'll say it's Alliance Title, file number, I know, 150. And that's it. So for this form, once you're done filling it out, double check your numbers. If it all makes sense, then what you're going to do is you're going to save it as a PDF, because to upload this to the Opportunity, it's got to be in a PDF format. I'll do save as PDF. Oops. Actually, I'll do print as PDF. And I'll save it locally. Straight commission statement. And share my command page. And then you are going to save it in its specific placeholder in the Opportunity, which is in the closed folder. And sorry, we're in a buyer Opportunity, but this will say commission statement, and then you'll upload the file there. And once it's uploaded, you're going to hit the, actually, I'll show it because I can remove it. Sorry, Tanae, I'll remove this as soon as I'm done with this example. Oh, sorry, I thought the submit to MC, but in this place will be a submit to MC button, and that's what puts it in my queue for review. So as soon as you're done uploading it, always make sure to hit submit so that I can review it. Does anyone have further questions on that in the meantime? Sorry, I couldn't see your faces. No, does that make sense for now? Okay, and we'll get Kara to send out more clarifying email a little later. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to now the second version, which is the Excel sheet of the commission statement. This is my particular favorite version because since I'm not strong in math, this has all the formulas already worked out. And this one looks a bit more comprehensive, but it's really not. Oh, I want to see. Sorry, my view is getting a little wonky. Let me. Okay, can you guys all see the Excel sheet? I can't see your faces. I can see one or the other, but it's okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. Press on. Okay, so this is my favorite way because it's actually is a bit more comprehensive in that in what you can do, but essentially you're just plugging in numbers into all the yellow cells. You're ignoring, this one has a formula, so you're ignoring the red one and putting in the same information, and then it's automatically being calculated for you on the right side of the screen. So anything you put in there, it's going to calculate here, and when you go to print, you're only going to see this right side of the commission statement. And this one I particularly like because it's you can differentiate depending on the type of the deal, that you have. So let's say, which is the most common, you actually have a co-broker and that co-broker is external, then this is like the standard, kind of just like the form that we just did. But sometimes the co-broker is actually another KW1 Chicago agent. So if it's an inter-office deal, it's a slightly different format. The formulas are a little bit different, and it has a different way of communicating this information to the title company. There are versions if there's no co-op, meaning, or if it's a dual agency, meaning that the same agent or the same agents from the same team are representing both sides, then that's technically dual agency. Or no co-op, meaning there is no buyer agent and the buyer perhaps is representing themselves. There's a version for a FSBO, a for sale by owner, and there's the one, but though very rare, situation of it being a relocation type deal, and we have a relocation company to pay. then you would fill out this version. But like I said, you're most often going to be living in the external co-op. And we'll just go ahead and fill in the details, first and last name. We'll say, Allie, since you're on here, we'll say Joe Green. And he represents 123 Main Street as well. Always make sure to add the unit number, especially in the case that it's like a high rise. If that closing company has multiple closings for multiple condos that day, be as specific as possible in the property address, I would say. So we'll see unit 3, Chicago, Illinois. We'll say the dates closing. And like I said before, if it's especially important, if by the end of this you see that this, and I'll go into it again, but if this is a negative number or this number is filled out, meaning that we're holding escrow money that we need to wire out, then it's imperative that we actually know the title company and file number. Otherwise, our accounting won't know who to send the wire out to. So if you don't happen to know, and it doesn't matter because we didn't hold earnest money or we're holding too little and we're just going to retain it anyway, then really we don't need to know the title company and file number. I think it looks professional and just a better filled out commission statement to include that information in there. But it's only really imperative when we're holding excess earnest money that we are going to be wiring out. So we'll say in this case, I'll just go again.
Are the little notes in the C column, are those part of the template?
This is actually, it's not part of the template. This good question. It's actually just information for you. So it's reiterating kind of what I just said in a much more simplified way. If we don't have it, it's okay, and the word okay should be there, so long as we're not wiring money, being wiring excess earnest money. So we'll say F-150 again. That number is usually longer, but go ahead again. Purchase price. We'll say $390, and we'll say we're holding a random amount of $1,500. You'll see that this box has already been filled out to calculate the net price, and that is filling out the net price because we wrote net by default. Most deals tend to be net, but if it were gross, whatever's on the listing agreement, if it says, if your agent decided, or if you're the agent and you decided to pay the co-broker like 2.5% minus $395 on the MLS, you have to provide that information either based on the net sales price or the gross sales price. And whatever you're paying the co-broker, that's what you have to be paid on based as well. So it's either both net or either both gross. So if we change this to gross, it would change the formulas in this document to calculate gross. If you leave this as net, it's automatically calculating for net. So right in the brokerage, we'll say again, Baird and Warner. Oh, agent's name. Amanda agent. Earnest money, you'll put in, again, I like this because if it were a random number, like we're actually holding 2% of the purchase price, 2,150, it calculates it. So that's why I appreciate this. It leaves less room for error with the formulas doing all that math. So total commission is, we'll say 5%. Admin fee, that's the same thing as, or essentially as the listing fee. If you as an agent decided to charge a listing fee and we didn't receive it at the beginning of the deal before a buyer was chosen, then you'll want to add it here. But on the listing agreement, this is also known as additional commission. So you would add it here if some exists. Again, it's not always, but it tends to happen sometimes. And in the credits and adjustments, you'll see a little note. It says use negative sign when entering, because this is technically like the rebate, anything that you are giving back to the seller or any other agreement that you guys chose with that's actually taking away from your commission, and you'll add it there. So we'll say -1,000 because you decided to give them back $1,000. Now, of the 5% that you guys agreed to, you're actually going to be giving, let's say you agree to give the co-op 2.5%, and the MLS fee, you're actually only adding once. So if that MLS fee, let's say it was like minus $3.95 for them, it's automatically adding this $3.95 to your commission. So whereas in the Word doc, you have to put it in both places, under minus for them and under plus for you. Here you only need to input it the once and it's already calculating it for you. So if you see all the information that we input is already filled out on this other side. And it's good to go. And it looks like we are holding an excess of earnest money in the amount of this. So it's especially good because this is what we are going to be sending to the title company. So this is why we need to know that information, which luckily is already filled in. So if it's money that's going to be wired out, accounting department is going to look at these two boxes. They're going to look there and they're going to look here. All good. Now that's why it's also important to submit it, because the accounting won't see the commission statement because I actually make it available for the accounting department. So I review it, but then depending on if we're holding earnest money or not, I actually put this in our internal files and make them aware of any earnest money that we are holding in excess to let them know. So that's why it's important that this gets reviewed and has to be reviewed by the compliance department first before closing. So if you're near the closing and compliance has not reviewed your commission statement yet, make sure to make me aware so that we can make sure that everything's good and done and we're not sending a wire when all your buyers and sellers are already at the closing table. So best to know always in advance. So in this case, so then now it's all filled out, you double check your numbers, things look good. You're gonna go to File, Print. I have it set automatically to print as a PDF so I can save it locally. Oh, it looks like that box sent it over. I will fix that. But as you see, it's only printing the section on the right, the portion that we need. So we'll go ahead and print that out, save it locally as, again, Main Street. And from that point, once it's saved, then you're just uploading it to the opportunity and hitting submit for review. Any questions on this one? Sorry, it's actually hard for me to see the chat. So if anyone's wrote anything in the chat, please let me know if there are any questions. Okay, I can see it now. Yes, thanks, Allie. Yes. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any concerns? Aside from the MLS rule that we used to follow all the time and have now recently changed, anything else?
I do have a question about that MLS rule. So we actually had a deal that was kind of a little funky because I'm trying to like reread to make sure that I'm not messing it up, the email that I sent them. But basically we paid them a certain amount of the purchase price, which included concessions. And then they said that we needed to owe them money based off the new MRED rules of taking commissions from the initial contract, even if the purchase price does not reflect the new commissions or concessions. So,
sure. And was this a deal based on net or gross? Just so I know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to assume net if that's kind of what everybody does. I'm also kind of new to all of this. I just started a few months ago, but I just want to make sure that this is like the same thing that we were talking about, that basically what they're saying is because we didn't write in that there were extra concessions on our initial contract because we didn't change the initial contract, that we owed them money because we charged them on our commission statement for the extra concessions, but it wasn't on the initial contract. So they wanted money back because the purchase price
wasn't on the initial.
Yeah.
Sure. So if I'm understanding correctly, so these were concessions that had been decided after signing the initial contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, had the title company been provided like a contract addendum or attorney review letter or the documentation where these concessions were decided? Because you guys included it on the commission statement, but that isn't an official documentation that the buyer and seller have agreed to these concessions. So I think that's what they wanted proof of, where were these concessions decided upon, because title is viewing the contract and anything that they don't see in the contract, like if the numbers don't match up in the commission statement, they're doing the same things we are essentially.
Right.
They're checking where these numbers did come from, and they're checking contract addendums, or they're checking attorney review letters. Was that provided to them by any chance?
I don't
Or
think
maybe
that
they
it was
just missed it?
in, I don't think it was in the attorney review, and I don't know if we did a contract addendum. I think it was something that like the buyer was and the seller were waiting so long up until the closing date to decide if they wanted money for this, like it was like something to do with the fireplace. She wanted to like redo it or something. So they think they waited so long up until the closing date before they decided that they were going to give each other money that we didn't write it anywhere. We didn't like put it anywhere. I think that it was just like
Was-
in emails.
So this was in emails prior to closing. So this didn't happen like at the closing table.
Correct.
So compliance wise, that's something I would want like actually in writing, because that's technically an addendum to the contract, right? Because
Right.
so that's something I would have put in writing, and I'm certain that's what they were looking for as well to make sense. So that's why that money was probably owed afterwards, because that
Right.
wasn't, while it was reflected on the commission statement, that's not like and it's an official document, but it's not in that if we're moving money around, like crediting or debiting buyer and seller, they need to have that agreement, because it's their money that we're moving around
Right.
essentially. So there needs to be like documentation with their both of their signatures on them. So it would need to be like an actual addendum. So that's my guess where that came from. So how long ago did this close?
Oh, this is back in January. So last month, I guess. This past-
Sure.
No, wait, sorry. No, it was December.
Oh, okay. So you guys already been paid on this, and did you guys end up paying that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say if there was anything still weird about it, definitely feel free to reach out to me, or even like I would say CC like our managing broker on it, because
Okay.
if there
Well,
was
there
anything
is
like weird or
there's something a
shady on
little
it, we
weird
can look
still.
into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Still
So
weird?
maybe I will email you. Yeah.
Write us. Yeah. Definitely email us. We can look into it
Cool.
and see like what is needed and what next steps can be taken.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That's the commission statement process, guys. Both of those. And like I said, it'll be available a little later today as well on in DocuSign and templated as a fillable PDF in case you guys mostly work there and aren't using Microsoft Suite, but I prefer the Excel version. I think it's the easiest version to use. I'm sure you guys will think so as well. Tanae's nodding her head. She gets it. Because as Tanae and Val create a lot of commission statements for all the agents they represent. And that's actually when it was on, for those who don't know, when I was just doing this for commission for Lincoln Park, I was doing all of this myself each time a request came in, but now we've put it on the agents to be able to create themselves. And then we just go in, me and the compliance team are just go in and fact check your numbers. And that's kind of our key to look for any contract addendums. And like those concessions, if you wrote a concession on the commission statement and I didn't see a contract addendum for it, I know to look for it. So that's where it bleeds into compliance as well. That's it. That's me. If you have any other questions after this, or say like while you're doing one and it sounds sketchy, or you got a lot of concessions or rebates, or net commission was adjusted or things like that, feel free to reach out to me at compliance@kw1chicago.com. I can definitely walk through you one-on-one, walk you through how to create it for your particular situation if it seems, or like you have any questions on it before you submit it for review. We can always go over it together. That's all, guys. This recording will be uploaded, I think a little later today. I'm going to send it to Allie, upload it to our YouTube page so you guys can come back to it whenever you need to. But we also have Zoom office hours. Me, Val, and Tanae each do daily from 1 to 2:30 p.m. We canceled it for today because we were going to be having this class. But otherwise, it's usually daily from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And you can always hop on as well for like an immediate answer. And it also helps us, me in particular, who I'm like more visual, to see what it is. And you guys can always share your screens and show us what you need to work through.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really good job, Amanda. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You take care. Val, Tanae, do you want to stay on? Or Val, do you want to stay on?
Sure. Sure.
Hi.
Hello.
Did you stop recording?
I'm going to write